Hey friend, it's Eric Carter-Landin. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe out there. Thank you so much for all the support. It means the world to me. Again, if you want to support this show, go to patreon.com/trueconsequences or go to ko-fi.com/trueconsequences. Before we go any further, I need to give a special shout out to Jackie Moranty, who's helped me write and research this chapter of the Negligence series, The Dylan Redwine Story. Dylan's partial remains were found by hikers in June 2013. The remains were 8 to 10 miles away from Mark Redwine's residence on Middle Mountain Road. They were about a mile past a gate that closes every year on November 30th and opens again in April the following year. The remains were found 100 yards off of the road and were right next to an ATV trail.
It's heavy.
No, I kind of sensed that when you just said what you did.
I'm telling you, man. What you're about to see is real heavy. I want you to be prepared for this. There wasn't a dry eye out in the field when we were dealing with this, okay? This is so upsetting. It made me cry too, buddy. What we saw was horrific. Here, Mark, here. Mark.
So what you're telling me, you found my son?
Yeah.
And he's dead.
He's dead. He's dead, Mark. We have some human remains, positively identified as human remains, and his DNA came back this morning. 100% positive that it's Dylan. I'm sorry.
He means everything to me.
I know.
No, I don't think you do. I don't think you have a clue. Where is he? I want to see him. No, I want to go. I want you to take me to him.
All we have are just a few bones and some clothing. So just look through this book. There wasn't much of him left, Mark, after the animals got to him. Just please have a look when you're ready.
You told me you had items you wanted me to come. Dylan is not an item.
Mark, we had to put items in evidence bags and seal them to ensure the integrity of these items. Okay?
I understand that, but he's not an item.
Yes, he's not. He's a person, and he's someone that you love very much and still do. But I can't have you view the actual evidence because we want to preserve the integrity of the evidence. I don't want any contamination. Same thing happened with Elaine and Corey. We couldn't show them the actual items. We couldn't show them Dylan. We couldn't show his remains. Let me start with the movie book for you. Start looking through these. Those are bits of bone fragments.
That appeared to be it too, so I was trying to figure out what the rest of it.
His hair was found in some, what we believe is his hair, found in coyote fecal matter and bone fragments.
See him.
The major bone groups that we were able to recover: 2 femurs, a tibia.
Is that his finger? I want to see my son.
Right now, he's at the lab. I don't have any of these bones with me right now because we had DNA testing done on them.
Is that all that there is? His bones?
Just bones, Mark. That's all we got is bones and bone fragments, some hair. There's evidence that he's possibly succumbed to predation. His body was pulled apart by animals, Mark, because things were scattered. His clothing, his shoes, evidence of predation.
Where do you find him at?
Middle Mountain, on one of the major trails up there.
How did he get there? That's what I want to know. How did he get there?
That's an interesting question. That's about 8 or 9 miles from your house in the opposite direction of where you should have went, Mark.
Middle Mountain runs parallel.
Yeah.
It's just across the street from my house. Some of it, parts of it.
Right.
Then I know it winds back open.
Right, but it's uphill from there. It's pretty steep. You got to cross, go negotiate a river or something, don't you?
Yeah, but that's easy enough to do.
But
And by November, the water's down anyway,
mm-hmm.
so it couldn't have been that damn high. And not to mention, there's a bridge right down the street
mm-hmm.
that could have been crossed over and easily accessed.
But do you see the logic in it? He ends up several miles up Middle Mountain Road when he should have been in Bayfield with one of his buddies. That was the plan.
Well, that's always been my understanding too. So.
Did he change his shirt when he got to your house? That's the size. That's what he wears. Did he show up at your house? That's one of the dogs that found Dylan. I mean, did he change his shirt at your house that you were aware of? When he was there?
When I went to bed, which was right before I think he must have went to bed, because I'm sure he was tired. He was still wearing.
When he was there, did he shower?
No, he never showered.
So what I'm trying to get here is he shows up. We see evidence of him wearing the DC shirt, and then we find this, the White Sox shirt. So I was wondering, at what point did he change out?
So he changed in the morning when he was up and getting ready to do whatever he was doing.
Okay.
He didn't do it before I went to bed, and he was under the blanket when I left, so I wasn't paying attention to what shirt he was wearing, but I can't imagine he would change his shirt before he went to bed. You know, I know he was up because he was watching TV and he ate cereal.
Mm-hmm.
Any idea what that is?
A lot of these pictures I didn't take. I'm not sure what that looks like. It looks like a bone.
What did he try to say, Tom?
I think you know what I'm trying to say, Mark. I'm sure you've atoned for a lot of the bad things you've done in your life, and you've done a lot of good things in your life. Okay? But that doesn't compare to the good thing that I expect you to do today. For Corey,
You gotta be kidding.
and especially for Dylan. Mark? We have eliminated a lot. We've eliminated a lot, Mark. The mail lady situation, the fishing pole, all the other little things. We've done tower dumps in the area. No pedophiles have been up there. Any registered sex offenders registered with La Plata County have not been up there.
What do you mean they haven't been up there?
Through the tower dumps.
What does that mean? I don't know.
The tower dump is taking all the phone numbers from that particular tower in your area from a specific time, date and time. We've gone through all those numbers, do not come back. So we know that there weren't any pedophiles up there. We know that there weren't...
well, you know, one of the things that my mail lady has talked to me, Angela, is that there's one registered sex offender, and I don't remember the guy's name, but she swears up and down she saw him working with his wife, who was at a house across the street from my house on the day Dylan disappeared. And then other people saw him. I don't know his name off the top of my head. I brought it to your attention because somebody noticed him cleaning out his vehicle shortly after Dylan's disappearance.
If they're a registered sex offender up there, then we know who they are.
I don't know the guy. I didn't even know there. We had 8 or 10 of them up there until all this happened.
Yeah.
Interesting. Thanks, man. Yeah.
Mark, please, tell us the truth.
I've told you the truth, Tom. You guys got it in your head that you got some other theory that's been working. Sometimes I wonder, are you guys working for the sheriff's department or you work for Elaine? Because everything that comes out of your mouth is basically what I hear coming out of her mouth.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. But we vetted her. She has no involvement in this whatsoever. Because it doesn't make any sense. I don't see the logic in it. It's a court order to send Dylan to you. Why would she come back and have him kidnapped? Especially this.
I guess I don't see eye to eye on that either. But that's fine. I shouldn't have to explain it to you because you guys should have done your homework and you should have all the facts. So I'm assuming that you've done that and that's your conclusion. I don't agree with it. I think she had every fucking reason to be involved with it. What I didn't anticipate that you'd be showing me pictures of his bones and tore up shirts.
Well, it's not something we wanted to do over the
No,
phone.
I'm not blaming you guys for that.
We wanted
You guys
to
are
give you
doing
that
your
courtesy
job.
of being able to show you and tell you in person. It's not something that anybody needs to hear over the phone.
And believe me, that thought ran through my mind when I was talking to you when I was in Indianapolis. Don't think it didn't. It ran through my mind earlier today. You could try all you want to prepare for the worst. But until you're confronted with it, I don't think you're ever prepared for it.
Yeah. Like I said, Mark, you got to advocate for yourself because the media is painting you out to be
I don't care about
this horrible monster.
No, they're not. The media is not at all doing that.
They're not?
I don't think they are. I'm not seeing it.
Okay.
I think Dr. Phil did me any favors, that's for sure. But the media that I see is social media, which involves Denise Hess and Elaine.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's an accurate description because I'm not seeing
Well, it's part of media. But the word on the street is you purposely had Dylan brought there to do something horrible to him because to get back
Right,
at
that's
to
exactly
get back at Elaine.
That's why I would do that. And if I was going to get back in the lane, I would go after her. I wouldn't take it out on my son. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense to you, either one of you?
I don't think he would do that.
I wouldn't do it. That's what I'm telling you.
Yes, I know that. But that's the word on the street.
I don't care what the word on the street is. Mm-hmm. That all got started from Elaine and her stupid shit. Mm-hmm. If I wanted Elaine, I would have went after Elaine. Certainly not going to take it out on my 14-year-old son. Matter of fact, the whole time we've been going through this divorce, I've done everything to keep him out of the middle. And all she's done is put him in the middle.
Now it's obvious he didn't want to be in the middle.
Well,
because he could have said some things to the judge and didn't say anything.
Well, that's the
He was the peacemaker.
I'm not arguing that point. Mm-hmm. But Elaine's not being honest with you about all the shit that she was putting in his head. I think he had every intention of telling her that he was going to do what he was going to do in front of Judge Dickinson. But he didn't, because Mom's no longer there to make him do it, or because he was by himself. He isn't going to roll over on me. He and I are much closer than anybody gives me credit for. Mm-hmm. Whether it be Elaine or Corey or anybody else. Anybody that knows me knows how important Dylan is to me, and my life evolves around him. If I was going to get back at somebody, it would have been his mom, not at him. He didn't do nothing. He's an innocent kid.
I don't doubt that, Mark.
You know, that's the whole fucking point in trying to get her face to face. It took 7 months to do it, but by God, it got done. But you know what? In doing that, I fulfilled my obligation and my commitment to Dylan. To do that with his mom. Now the gloves are fucking off. She can suck my ass.
We know that you and Elaine don't see eye to eye.
Yeah, well,
I don't expect you to. Okay? I mean, I've told you that before. You and I have talked many, many times about that. I don't expect you to see eye to eye, want to be around her or anything. Okay? I totally understand that. But that's not about her right now. Okay? It's about Dylan. So let's get off the topic of Elaine. We know that you don't like Elaine, and that's
fine. I made that clear to the first officer that showed up that was an issue. Mm-hmm. I've never hidden behind that or ever candy-coated the fact that, it was what it was.
And we're not contesting that.
But to insinuate that I would do something to my son to get back at her, fuck that idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you would do something
and
fucked up like that. That's why.
Just to even insinuate it is insulting to me, and I don't care what she does.
I'm not saying that.
Mama's
about
not
you.
saying that. He said that's what the people in the media said.
I'm not saying that about you.
We don't think
because that's what Elaine does. Elaine's been running her mouth about that shit from the very get-go. I chose to take a different path. Mm-hmm. I'm not looking to blame or point fingers at anybody until we know what happens to Dylan. Now we know. Now we need to find out how it happened. But the gloves are fucking off. I don't know how to do it, but it's probably something that needs to be done. There needs to be some restraining orders in place immediately. Because I'm telling you.
Why are you thinking restraining orders?
Because she's already been proven to drive by my house and sit in front of my house and not get out and say nothing. Tom, I'm telling you, it's for all of our best interest.
If you have to get a restraining order, that's fine. Okay, you're missing the priority here, Dylan. How did he get up Middle Mountain Road, Mark?
You tell me, Tom.
I'm asking you because I
don't know how he got up there.
God damn it!
Don't sit there and slam that book on me.
Fucking Mark.
I didn't put him up there.
You brought him up there.
I didn't bring him up there.
I'm sick of the fucking lies. Okay, Mark? 7 goddamn months.
I didn't put him up there.
We've worked this 7 goddamn months.
I didn't take him up there.
Listen to me. Listen to me. I know you didn't do anything to him on purpose. Okay? Because I know you love that boy. Corey told me. You've told me. Even Elaine has told me. Accidents happen, Mark. Accidents happen.
I didn't put him up there.
Accidents happen.
There's no accident.
Yes.
No, there isn't.
He lipped off to you?
No, he didn't lift off.
You got pissed off? And you did something to him, Mark.
You're wrong, Tom. You're wrong.
And you know what bugs me is, you know that he's dead. I
don't know that he's dead. How am I supposed to know he's dead?
You know he's dead. You put him up there.
I didn't put him up there.
Come on, man.
I didn't put him up there, Tom.
7-8 miles away from your house, in the opposite direction, hastily thrown on the ground.
Really? You honestly believe that that's all the respect that I would have for my son as much as I love him? You gotta be fucking kidding me.
He wasn't buried, Mark, because if he was buried, he'd still be there.
Then if that's not how it happened, tell us how it happened.
I don't know how it happened.
What we're saying is that I believe you when you say that you left Dylan. I believe you. I told you last time you and I talked in here.
Go home, and then you maybe just catch up, whatever, and he's probably still distant. You start watching movies, and then he's texting. A couple movies that you don't watch this type of stuff. Adventureland and
anything that doesn't go on every time he's with me.
Let me arrive to this conclusion. While you're sitting on the couch, he's over here. He's totally ignoring you, texting, and he's you're watching a movie that he picked out, but he's not watching it. Maybe some words were exchanged.
I
Mark,
wasn't even watching it.
Okay, yeah, because I remember you saying it was kind of a dumb juvenile movie.
It was a Dylan movie.
Okay,
I had no problem with him watching the movie. He just bought it at Walmart. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean I'm going to get upset with him because he's watching it, and he wasn't even really watching it. I don't think he was even that interested in it, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So what's your point?
He's texting. He's texting his friends, and then you get probably upset that he's texting and he's not bonding with you.
Tom, that is nothing.
And then you lose your cool, man.
That's not true. Nothing that you're saying is anything different than any other time he's with me. Not anything.
Not true, Mark.
It is true. You don't know what it is when me and Dylan are together. Have you ever been in my house when he's with me?
Mark, no.
All right, then. Don't tell me how Dylan is when he's with me. I'm telling you, I know for a fact that what he was doing that night is the same thing he does every other time he's with me.
Mark. Okay, so if you are saying, and let me get this straight, you're saying that you do not know what happened to him.
That's exactly right.
Okay, then will you be willing to take a polygraph now, then? You can clear your name.
We don't have to keep going around doing this if you take the poly.
No, that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
Fuck the polygraph test. Polygraph test is just a tool in your tool belt. And just like all the other tools that you've got in your tool belt.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't going to change anything. It ain't going to make any difference. The one I took before didn't find him, did it?
Well, we found him now, and we're trying to...
Well, I understand that.
So yes,
but I took the damn thing 7 months ago.
Yes or no? Are you willing to do that?
I'm not willing to do it right now.
Not
obviously, you're going to understand I'm a little emotionally distraught.
I did not mean the second. Is it something that you will do?
Yes, I've never ever said, no, I won't do it. Okay. So I'm not going to say that now either.
Okay. So is it something that you're...
I'm not going to... I don't want to talk about it right now.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, you got to understand that I just found out that my son is dead. Mm-hmm. And you want to talk to me about a fucking polygraph test? Polygraph tests don't mean shit to me. Okay. And much of a polygraph test is to guess whether or not you believe in the damn thing. Well, I'm telling you, I don't believe in them. I never have.
Okay.
But when I was asked to take the damn thing, without hesitation, I got in my vehicle. I drove to Durango. I sat in that lobby for 15 minutes waiting for the guy to get back from lunch. To me, that is one of the most important aspects of having a polygraph. Your willingness to take it. Mm-hmm. I just need some time to digest all this. I wasn't prepared for this. I don't know that you can ever be prepared for this.
What do you want? Take a break, have a smoke? Door's open. You can get up and walk out and take a break.
Shortly after these remains were found, Brandon Redwine recalled a conversation that he had with Mark, where Mark kept referring to blunt force trauma. He referred to Dylan's cause of death several times over this conversation.
Yeah, I think that was a great idea. I mean, people have their own opinions. I told you mine, and for what it's worth, take it. But I heard some people definitely saying kind of where I was coming from, that it was just distasteful because he wasn't missing at that point.
And I'm not arguing that point. Some people took it that way. I'm telling you, the people in the audience that were out there that were troublemakers took it that way. Corey took it that way. His response to me was Dylan's still missing, and I argue that point. How is Dylan found when you only have 2% of his remains? 98% of my son is still laying out there somewhere, and I think that that's the most important thing we should be focused on. But you're not going to tell me he's not still missing if only 2% of his remains have been recovered. 98% of them is still missing. 98% of anything is a whole, almost a whole thing. My point being is that if a person's remains have been discovered, and only 2% of them are accounted for, and 98% of it is still unaccounted for, unaccounted for portion being 98% still classifies him, quote unquote, missing. Not to say that we don't know the area in which we need to look, but I've been in touch with law enforcement people for the last 2 or 3 days, and they have uncovered nothing. How is that possible, Brandon? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. How can 2% of Dylan's remains be scattered over a 1.5 mile area when everybody in the, I forget the people that are involved with that, but, you know, the anthropologist people are suggesting that all of his remains should be within a 1/2 mile radius of some point. And from the very beginning, it's spread over a 1.5 miles. That already is out of the normal area. And that's what I said to law enforcement the day they took me up there. You're not going to tell me that anthropologist people are telling you that his remains should be in a 1/2 mile radius, and already we're out of 1.5 miles. Something's wrong with that. And now I've been checking in with them, and they're telling me they found nothing more. I'd love somebody to explain that to you. How does that happen?
My wife was telling me she thinks somebody either cut him up or they waited until nature took course and then started spreading him.
Well, the second part of that statement is kind of the theory that I'm starting to believe. Not to say that I agree with that entirely. What I'm saying is that I can't help but think that the small portion of Dylan's remains that have been found have been put there to be found. I mean, that's what it's starting to look like to me. So I've run with that. Not 1 minute of 1 day have I ever given up on the fact that Dylan wasn't alive. Now all of a sudden I'm being challenged with that, with a small portion of his remains that are accounted for. But, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean foul play. And when I talked to Tom Cowling, who's one of the lead investigators in this whole thing, and he's the guy that I've been talking to, I told him straight up, it's very important that you find all of Dylan's remains, because everything that you find needs to be evaluated or processed. You know, I want to know, you know, if he was stabbed with a knife or shot with a gun or smashed in the head, you know, I want to know if there's any way to determine what caused his death. But by the same token, nobody can prove that to me or tell me anything in regards to that. And so I don't know why Dylan would try to get up to Middle Mountain. I'm not saying that he couldn't have. And don't think for 1 minute that I question that. Because I don't know the logic behind that. So I mean that she couldn't be up there planting evidence. It just is bizarre to me how you can only find a few things and you can't find it all.
You think she's responsible for that?
Well, I don't know, Brandon. But it sure is suspicious to me. I I mean, you're never going to convince me that you can find 4 or 5 bones of Dylan's remains and not find the rest of them. You're not going to convince me that somebody came in the middle of the night and removed them all. What, are you going to go out there with a flashlight over a half-mile area and remove all these remains? I'm telling you, it's literally impossible based on what the professional people are saying. They have located all that in a short amount of time with a flashlight in the middle of the night. To me, it sounds more like what was found was put. It's not important. What's important is that we all understand what happened to him, Dylan. You know, that's the only thing I care about. First of all, I want to know that the rest of his remains can be recovered, because I think the more remains that are recovered, the more that they can be analyzed, and the more they can be checked out for, you know, was he stabbed with a knife, was he shot with a gun, was he smashed in the head? You know, that we can try to determine the cause of death. I'm telling you, what they have found at this point, they can't do that with. The more they find, the more those questions can be answered. Could be talking that shit.
But it doesn't have anything to do with Dylan.
Exactly, which is what my focus has always been. It's always been about Dylan. Not looking to point fingers, I'm not looking to blame, I'm not looking to do anything. It's always been about Dylan. Just like it is right now, which is why I call him the, you know, investigator Dave Tom County that I talk to all the time. Because I want to know. I've called him 2 or 3 times this week. You guys been out there searching. What have you found? What have you hold? Mark, we haven't found nothing. And I'm thinking to myself, how is it you cannot find anything? When the professional people are telling you it should all be right there, and you ain't finding none of it, and now you're doubling the search area? And their position is they want to make sure that they explore everything before they give up. They're outside what the professionals are telling them they should be. But that was the case from day one. How can you be within a half-mile radius of any particular area, and the search area that was discovered, it was a mile and a half? Already you're contradicting what the professional people are telling you. I'm telling you, you need to keep looking, you need to keep looking, because I think it's important that you find everything, because the more you find, the more you're going to be able to investigate or look at and determine, you know, was he stabbed by a knife, was he shot with a gun, was he beat over the head, whatever. You know, the point is we need to determine the cause.
Mark was very familiar with the area, and he owned an ATV. Witnesses saw him driving down from the gate in April of 2013. A search for Dylan was scheduled for June of that year, but Mark didn't participate. He went on the road, became a trucker, and it was during the June search that they found the first set of remains. On August 5th, 2013, a cadaver dog was sent to Mark Redwine's home to see if the dog could detect remains at the property. The dog indicated the presence of cadaver scent in the living room and the washing machine. These were indications of a large source of human remains. The dog also hid on the clothing that Mark reported wearing that night that Dylan disappeared. On February 13th, 2014, the dog was brought out again to inspect Mark's Dodge pickup. The dog alerted in several places, including the bed of the truck. On November 1st, 2015, hikers found Dylan's skull about 1.5 miles further up Middle Mountain Road, from where the original remains were found. This area was easily accessible from Middle Mountain Road, and investigators surmised that someone had moved Dylan's skull as opposed to animals carrying it away. Lyle Wilmarth, a wildlife officer with the Colorado Parks and Wildlife Division, would later tell investigators that there was no animals known to the area that would transport a body up the mountain from Mark's home, and no animal in the area would transport a skull from the original recovery site to the second one. A forensic anthropologist determined that Dylan's skull had injuries consistent with blunt force trauma in 2 locations. The skull also had markings consistent with the marks from a knife. These markings could not be caused by an animal or by natural causes. The injuries were peri-mortem, which means they were done shortly after Dylan had died. It was surmised that Mark had moved the skull to conceal Dylan's cause of death. The indictment was signed on July 20th, 2017. Mark Redwine was arrested on July 22nd. He was charged with second-degree murder and child abuse resulting in death.
Let's put him down, lay him down, and we'll move up Nick, Bean, and Dollywall grab him. But let's put him on the ground, stomach, arms out. Bean and Nick, when we're moving up, I'll cover the cab. There's a passenger. Just keep your hands up, buddy. Just keep your hands up. Dollywall, watch the cab. I got the cab. Around me. Go around back. Yep.
Next time on Negligence, the Dylan Redwine series.
2 words. Grand jury. Explain to them.
When can we do that?
Probably pretty soon. Let's take the polygraph and prove us wrong.
If you want to support this show, go to patreon.com/trueconsequences or go to ko-fi.com/trueconsequences. Thanks for listening and stay safe, New Mexico.
We're not certain what that is. It appears to be maybe. That was in fecal matter.
That was in his fecal matter?
That was in a coyote turd.
Oh.